Howdy, this is your Garten-Staudinger from Munich again, and today we're talking about a topic where thousands of lawns suffer completely unnecessarily every single year. Lawn care in March. These are the 3 things you should do right now, and 3 things you should definitely avoid. Because as soon as the first sunshine appears in March, the exact same thing happens all over the country. The neighbor pulls out the scarifier, another one spreads fertilizer like Parmesan on a pizza, and the third one mows the lawn like there's no tomorrow. And the lawn is just thinking, "Brother, I just woke up from winter dormancy." So if you want to know what you should actually do with your lawn in March, and what you absolutely should not do, make sure to stay until the end. Because the biggest mistake in spring is not too little care. The biggest mistake is too much and too early, and that's exactly what we're going to look at now. First important thing, the lawn does not follow the calendar. The lawn follows soil temperature. And this is a point that surprisingly many people completely ignore. Most lawn grasses only really start growing when the soil temperature is consistently around 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. Before that, about as much happens in the soil as with me at 6 in the morning without coffee. Not much. That means, if you scarify, fertilize, overseed, or start any big lawn operation in March, you're stressing the lawn during a phase when it can't even recover yet. And that's exactly why many lawns look in April like a mixture of a battlefield and an archaeological excavation. But don't worry, there are definitely things you can do in March that actually make sense, step by step. And this is where the strategy begins. Not doing everything in a panic, but helping the lawn start the season cleanly. Step number 1, remove winter debris. After winter, all kinds of things are usually lying on the lawn. Leaves, twigs, moss leftovers. And those little worm casts that look like moles suddenly started a side job. Just take a rake or a leaf broom and go lightly over the surface once. Not like a berserker, very gently. The goal is simply this. Get light down to the soil. Because right now the grass mainly needs one thing. Sunlight for photosynthesis. And this is exactly where many people already make the first mistake. They simply leave the leaves lying there. That works like a blanket on the lawn. No light, no air, no energy. And that's exactly why many lawns start the season with a delay. So clean things up once, and the lawn can finally breathe again and start building energy for spring growth. Let's move on to the second point, and it's almost even more important. Step number 2, understand the soil. I know that sounds a bit philosophical now, but the soil really is the foundation for everything. Many people automatically spread lime in March, because somewhere they heard lime helps against moss. Yes, it can, but only if the soil is too acidic. The ideal pH level for lawns is roughly between 6 and 7. So if you blindly add lime, even though your soil is already perfect, you push the pH value in the wrong direction. And then people suddenly wonder why the lawn keeps getting weaker. Because an incorrect pH level blocks nutrients in the soil. The fertilizer may be there, but the lawn simply can't absorb it. That's a bit like setting up a buffet, but nobody has any cutlery. So here's my tip. A simple pH test from the garden center costs just a few euros and can save you a lot of trouble later on. And now comes a point that people talk about far too little. Step number 3, bring the soil back to life. After winter, soil life is often pretty sluggish. Earthworms, microorganisms, bacteria, they need warmth and oxygen, and you can give them a little help. If your soil is very compacted, you can simply poke a few holes into the ground with a digging fork. Not deep, not aggressively. Just here and there to bring a bit of air into the soil. This improves water permeability and brings oxygen to the microorganisms, and they are the ones that later make nutrients available in the first place. You could say, you're preparing the buffet, so the lawn can actually eat later. And now we come to a question I get every single year. Staudinger, can I mow my lawn already? Answer, maybe. If it has actually started growing, you can definitely mow once toward the end of March. But please, very important, the 1/3 rule. You should never cut more than 1/3 of the leaf length. So if your lawn is 6 centimeters tall, you cut a maximum of 2 centimeters. Why? Because the leaf mass works like tiny solar panels. They collect energy for the plant. And if you suddenly mow them off radically, the grass loses exactly what it needs most right now. Energy. That's why in spring the rule is better mow a little higher than too short. That makes the lawn denser, stronger, and more resilient. And now we come to the things you should absolutely still avoid in March. Number 1, scarifying. I know, this is probably the biggest spring reflex in the entire gardening world, As soon as the first rays of sunshine appear, you hear that typical scarifier sound everywhere. But in March, it's almost always too early. Scarifying cuts into the turf layer. That's stress for the lawn. And a plant can only compensate for stress when it's actively growing. That usually doesn't happen until April, or even May. Only then can the lawn quickly close the gaps that are created and become dense again. If you scarify too early, those gaps stay open. And that's exactly where moss and weeds settle. So, patience. Number 2, overseeding. Lawn seeds only germinate once the soil temperature reaches around 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. Below that, they simply sit in the soil and wait. And if a dry phase comes, or a hungry bird flies by, that's the end of your overseeding. Many people then wonder why nothing has happened after 2 weeks and think the seed must have been bad. In reality, it was simply too cold for germination. That's why the best time for overseeding is usually May or early summer. By then the soil is warm enough, the nights are milder, and the lawn can actually close the gaps quickly. Number 3, fertilizing. Again, the same rule applies. The calendar doesn't decide. The temperature does. Many people see the first warm days in March and immediately think, now the lawn needs fertilizer. But if the soil is still too cold, this is what happens. The fertilizer just sits there in the soil. The microorganisms are barely active yet, and without them the nutrients cannot be properly released. A great natural indicator, by the way, is the blooming of forsythia. When those yellow shrubs start flowering everywhere, the soil is usually warm enough. That's when you can start the first fertilization, and the lawn can actually absorb the nutrients and immediately begin growing. And if you follow this sequence, something pretty cool happens. The lawn starts the season strong. It grows denser. It suppresses weeds better, and you'll have far less repairing to do later. The biggest difference between an average lawn and a really beautiful lawn is not fertilizer, it's timing. So remember, in March the rule is not do everything. Instead, clean up, check the soil, support it lightly, and then be patient. The lawn will handle the rest. And if you're now thinking, okay Staudinger, got it, but what mistakes ruin lawns most often? Then definitely watch this video here. These 4 mistakes ruin your lawn, and you're probably making them too. In that video I show you the 4 things that completely throw thousands of lawns off track every single year. And if you want to go one step further, you should also watch my video. Watering your lawn correctly. These 5 mistakes ruin your lawn. Because when it comes to watering, surprisingly many gardeners make mistakes that you only really notice in the middle of summer. I'll link both videos right here, and of course also down below in the description. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Your Garten-Staudinger.